Hi, Kylie here and welcome to my plan with me for February 2025. This month the theme is transport. Not air transport, so I've got a whole different category for that, but it's all the other different types of transport. So, just playing around with drawing different bits and pieces in here and trying to work out which quote I want to use for this month. And we'll talk about that later because I messed that up, but anyway. Let's talk about that when we get to it. One thing I'll quickly show you, I did put a mood tracker in, so you'll see that January is actually quite good. I did put a mood tracker in because I sort of didn't show drawing that in January. I drew everything up and went, oh, that's right, I need a mood tracker as well because I finished that. And I still like having it as a 6-monthly thing because it shows me a little bit more of like my cycling moods, but also when things have not been good for a while, just shows a little bit more clearly. But my title page for February is like a highway. It's got 2 lanes going in either direction with a mixture of like SUVs, cars, buses, and a truck. A sign on the side of the road that says February on it, so sort of like a town sign or something like that. And then down the bottom it's got a petrol station with a couple of people sitting inside having some food. When I put that in, that still left a gap over on the right hand side, and I decided I'd put in the words on the move, which is a little bit because it's transport and this is, transport moves things, but also because February starts feeling a little bit more like the year has actually started. I've had a few things to do in January, but January just always drags. It takes forever. And February is where things really start sort of kicking off and, the workload starts increasing, which it is. And I decided to put those words in because this is what I do. I play around with it. Vehicles are really fun to draw, so transport stuff is really fun to draw. It's really fun to draw cars because you literally put 2 wheels and then you can put any sort of shape on top of it. It doesn't really matter. Cars come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, so so you can have fun with it and make things a little bit funky. I like, on the top of the page, the small car over on the right-hand side that is just like one window, just like a single car, a little bit blobby. That's generally how I draw cars when I'm graphic scribing, because they're really nice and quick to draw, and in scribing it's all about speed. So that's generally how I draw them. I generally draw my buses a little bit like the bus that's next to that, although I normally draw them a little bit more, they're a little bit bendy. They've got a little bit more movement in them. And that I draw a lot, or I have drawn a lot of buses because I've done a lot of consultation work around transport in different sort of capacities. So I've drawn a lot of buses and they tend to get a lot looser when I do them in scribing. But it's fun to draw vehicles. So if this is something that you like, trying to get ideas on the things that you could sort of draw, by all means, go draw vehicles. They're good fun. And again, go look on Pinterest at, vehicle doodles or those sorts of things, and you can see lots of interesting examples that can hopefully inspire you as well. January was an interesting month. I've had a good chance to really recuperate, take a lot of downtime, really recover from what was a pretty big burnout at the end of last year. There was a lot that happened in 2024, and there was a lot of work that I took on that I probably in reality didn't have the capacity to take on, and I did. Part of that is, again, all the grieving stuff around Lil, but then the other part of that is just, there were things I was trying not to think about and I was keeping my brain busy. Plus, I still have a little bit of the overachieving, people-pleasing gene that is a little bit too functional in my world, and I find it difficult to say no at times, particularly when I'm a bit down anyway. I find it difficult to say no. And so, yeah, some people really benefited from my inability to say no to them last year. And this year I hope to be a bit better at that, as I always hope to be better at being able to say no and protect my own time and all those things. And, you know, we'll see how it goes, because I've been quite productive in January. I have a training schedule that I've booked things in. Everything's up on Humanitix to book tickets, and I've got set dates. And now one of those dates I'm going to have to change because Derek and I booked a holiday that we weren't planning on doing. But, you know, that's fine. I can change one date. That's all good. But yeah, so, you know, I sort of made the commitment to I'm doing these courses, this is what's going on. So there is a year of sort of courses. I mean, it's mainly one a month. So it's, you know, not like I've booked in 200 courses or anything. But it's better than my commitment last year where I didn't really pre-plan enough. So I've done a bit of that pre-planning, and that's all been really good. I feel quite good about that. Now I just have to actually do the courses. But, you know, that's a future Kylie problem. That's not a current Kylie problem. Okay, so the other thing that we did do is we have booked in a couple of holidays. So I'm, you know, protecting some of my time as well in there too. So the quote I chose is, "Not all who wander are lost," which is J.R.R. Tolkien. And this is where we show you how bad my brain is and the inattentiveness that goes on in my brain, right? So I've put down, you know, I've pre-drawn it. I've, you know, worked out how it's going to go. Not all who wander are lost. Ugh. Not all who wander are lost. I know that this is what it is. I know I've got it right. And then as I'm doing it, I'm like, just reading those last couple of words, who wander are lost. And I'm like, it should be all who wander are not lost. My brain changed the quote. And so I put a not in. Rather than reading the entire quote again, I screwed up the quote. And this is what I mean by inattentiveness. Now, I partially blame Terry Pratchett because I listened to the Discworld books. I've never actually read them. I started listening to one a couple of years ago. And I really like having them read to me. I don't know why. It just seems right. The people who they've got doing them, the voices are just right. And particularly Death. Death is fantastic. And so now I've just gotten to the thing where I could buy them all and read them, but I actually really enjoy having them read to me. So I was listening to Witches Abroad, but what I've worked out, because I never usually listen to books when I do this work, I normally listen to podcasts or music, which I can tune out and keep myself a little bit more focused. I can't listen to books and do this. This is a new lesson that I've learned for myself because I end up doing something stupid like that. And it's just inattentiveness. It's just not being focused on what I'm doing, which, you know, is a little bit fascinating. To just mess up the simplest little quote like that is quite fascinating about how my brain works. So there you go, little sneak peek into that. We're on to week 1, and the transport that I've chosen is water. So we've got a little bit like a tugboaty type thing, a little bit, you know, it's a little bit ocean linery, but very sort of simple and blobby. On top of the water and underneath we have a submarine, because submarines are fun to draw. They're like rockets, but they go under the water. So, you know, but it's a similar type shape it's just like a really fun shape to draw. Which is good. And of course I'm painting it yellow because you have to paint a submarine yellow. It's just the thing. The new layout. So how is the new layout going? It's been going quite well, but January hasn't had a lot of tasks and events in it. So, you know, we'll see once I start getting, my workload starts increasing, how that sort of happens. We're on week 2, and week 2 are racing cars. Do not ask me why. They're on an impossible track, but I don't care. I just sort of saw this shape in something and went, oh, they're cute. I need to do some racing cars. But yeah, so the new layout's been going quite well. You'll notice over on the right-hand side that I've got like Monday the 10th written, and it's written in a sort of purpley coloured pen. What I realised when I started like doing January is the thicker pen that I normally use, because of how much space I'm not giving these things, because there is quite a lot of information that I end up putting into that side of the page. I've gone down and I've bought, you can see it just up the top in the right-hand corner, I bought an Outline 0.2 pen so that the writing can be a little bit finer and I can fit a little bit more in, and it is a lot more legible and not quite as smushed. And look, there is a difference between a 0.3 and a 0.2. There, you know, it is distinctly different. So I did try my 0.1 for a bit, and that was just a little bit too fine. So we've settled on a 0.2, and we'll see how that goes. We're in week 3, and week 3 is a train, a bike, and a car. A little bit planes, trains, and automobiles, but like I said, I'm not doing air transport in this month, so we have a bike instead. And bikes, can I just say, if you've never drawn a bike before, if you've never drawn a bicycle before, go and like try and draw one from memory. Like, don't spend a lot of time looking at what this is. Try and draw it from memory. It's one of those things that you think you know how a bike goes together, but if you actually have to sort of draw it, it's actually quite a difficult thing to draw. Again, I've had to draw a lot of these when I've been scribing, and as particularly whenever I train sketchnoting, people always want you to draw a bike, and it's like, they suck. I don't like drawing them because I know how to draw them. I've drawn them a lot. This is the way you draw a bike, but for some reason when I'm in rush mode, I always get the frame wrong, and things are connected that shouldn't be connected, and it just doesn't look right. But anyway, here's a bike. And again, something that I don't really like, that bike helmet looks like they're wearing like a beanie or like an early 20th century football, like rugby helmet. Like, it's just weird. And I'm not overly happy with it, but you know, it's my journal. What are you going to do? The final page, is this the final one? Yes, the final page of the month, I had to go back and look at the dates, are scooters, or a scooter and a Vespa, because they're adorable to draw, and yeah, they're going to be in there. That's what's going to happen. So February looks like it's going to pick up a bit, and yeah, it should be a little bit busy. Hopefully I'll still make time like I've been trying to do for my work, but you know, get a bit of client work, start reintegrating and dealing with the world, because, you know, I've sort of shut myself away quite a bit in this month. So yes, go back and be around people. But I hope that you've had a nice January. I hope that everyone else has had a little bit of a chance to, I don't know, maybe take a little bit of time and sort of relax. The world does not feel like a relaxing place at this point in time, and I don't think it's going to feel like that anytime soon. We're in very interesting times, and you know, it is the old curse, may you live in interesting times. I'd prefer not to, because yeah, I don't know about you, but I live in even more heightened anxiety than I did in 2024, so let's see how that goes. Anyway, the last page is reflection page and lettered lessons. Did I use the lettered lessons? Here's what I have done so far. I haven't sat down and done my reflection for January, so I'll probably add some more in there. So here's my bullet journal for February. Look, I really hope that February is good for all of us. I hope that you have a lovely February, and yeah, I'm sorry if your world is not great at the moment as well. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you again at the end of February for March. Bye.